Ivy and Sylvia are students at an elite high school. One day, the girls get detention. Ivy is serving time for falling asleep in biology class, and Sylvia for making a fake bomb threat to the TV station where her dad works. He hosts a TV show where he announces on national television that due to raging teenage hormones, driver's licenses shouldn't be issued until age 21. Sylvia was really annoyed by these statements, so she decided to teach her dad a lesson. Ivy had seen the guy on TV and bluntly says she thinks he's a total jerk, which cracks her friend up. When Daryl comes to pick up his daughter, he scolds her for the stupid bomb prank it could end up getting him fired. Sylvia is already regretting what she did. Meanwhile, Ivy walks up to their car and asks Daryl for a ride, since she missed her bus because of detention. He initially refuses, but Sylvia talks him into taking her friend. Claiming she gets carsick in the back seat, Ivy takes the front seat next to Daryl. On the ride, Sylvia tells her dad about a school AIDS prevention program where they learn how to use condoms. Ivy smiles and adds that they already know exactly how to do that. The next day, Ivy goes over to her friend's place and finds herself standing in front of a luxurious mansion. Sylvia lives there with her dad and her terminally ill mother, who now constantly wears an oxygen mask and is living out her final days. Sylvia lets her friend inside and asks her to keep it down. While looking out the window at the city, Ivy meets Sylvia's mom, Georgia. The woman takes an instant dislike to the girl and tells her daughter exactly that when she comes back into the room. Shortly after, Ivy walks in. Georgia learns that her daughter's new friend goes to the elite school on a special scholarship for orphans, and her aunt pays for her housing. Staring at her friend's sick mother, Ivy admits that her own mom died around the exact same age, in her late 40s. A few weeks go by and Ivy moves into their mansion. One day, Daryl, after watching her from the window, walks over and accidentally knocks her shoes, which Sylvia had bought for her, by the way, into the pond. To make up for it, Daryl counts out some cash and hands it to Ivy, telling her to keep the change. The girl puts on the wet shoes, but just as she's about to leave, the phone rings. It's a guy Sylvia knows. Sylvia isn't home, so he asks if she's free on the 16th. Ivy checks the calendar, sees that her friend's dad is throwing a party on the 16th, and intentionally tells the guy yes. She does this knowing full well that Sylvia will be slammed with work helping her dad in the kitchen. And it's exactly there, while Sylvia is fiddling with a broken coffee maker, that her mom suddenly appears. Sylvia's sick mother, Georgia, demands her medicine. Daryl had prudently hidden them so his wife wouldn't commit suicide by downing a handful of pills at once. Angry at her family, the woman specifically asks Ivy to escort her to her room. Later, Ivy runs outside, apologizes to Sylvia, and admits that she really doesn't want to go to school today. Sylvia isn't opposed to clearing her head either, so Ivy drags her to a tattoo parlor where she gets a tattoo of an ivy vine. She suggests her friend do the same, but Sylvia refuses, saying it's just not her style. Ivy takes this refusal as a personal insult, deciding that Sylvia considers tattoos to be strictly for the lower class. An argument breaks out between the girls. Sylvia is about to leave, but Ivy brazenly stops her and asks her to pay the tattoo artist. In the heat of the moment, Sylvia snaps that Ivy could have just paid in kind since she already looks like a hooker, but she hands over the cash anyway. She steps out of the parlor but quickly returns because she accidentally handed over a $100 bill instead of a 10. Ivy grips the bill with a death grip and refuses to give it back. Realizing she crossed the line, Sylvia apologizes. That evening, returning home, the girls see Georgia leaning dangerously over the balcony railing. While Sylvia rushes to talk to her mother, Ivy bumps into Daryl on the stairs. The man has taken off his hairpiece, and surprisingly, he seems even more attractive to the girl like this. She gently kisses his injured hand and goes to her room. The 16th finally arrives. a guy comes to pick up Sylvia. The girl is shocked because she hadn't planned anything. Ivy intentionally hid that phone call from her so her friend wouldn't be able to cancel the date. After sending Sylvia off, Ivy gets to work helping Daryl organize the house party. Seeing his young house guest in a gorgeous dress, the man can't help but confess that she is very attractive. When the guests leave, Daryl catches Ivy doing a seductive dance. The man gives in to the impulse, embraces the girl, and starts passionately kissing her. But suddenly the lights turn on. Georgia is standing in the doorway. The woman instantly realizes what kind of parasite they've let into their home. However, Ivy doesn't lose her cool. She goes to Georgia's room and brazenly lies. She claims Daryl is just starved for affection, that he broke down crying and mistook her for his wife in the dark because Ivy was wearing her dress. She insists she had just given him a friendly hug, which is exactly what Georgia saw. The naive woman buys this fairy tale, feels guilty for her suspicions, apologizes, and falls asleep. In the process, she drops the glass that Ivy had brought her. Daryl bends down to pick up the broken pieces, and the girl audaciously sits right next to him on the bed. The man completely loses control. He starts stroking her legs, and then his hands end up under her underwear. The next morning, Sylvia goes looking for her dog and finds him in her mom's car in the garage along with Ivy. A furious Sylvia snatches the car keys, which Ivy supposedly found by accident under the tire. The girls argue again, this time over the dog, but the dog takes Ivy's side because she constantly feeds him. Meanwhile, Daryl drives to the school to pick up his daughter after class, but since Sylvia skipped school again, he only runs into Ivy and, of course, offers her a ride home. In the car, the girl reminds Daryl about the previous night, to which the man assures her that he will be able to stop. Then the girl suggests pulling over to the side of the road and doing it right now. They drive into the woods, where out in the rain on the hood of the car, they get to baking cupcakes. Meanwhile, Sylvia is playing the piano when she hears the doorbell ring. Ivy is at the door, apologizing about the dog. The girl explains her behavior by saying she never had pets because she comes from a poor family and she just imagined it was her own dog. In the morning, walking into Georgia's room, Ivy spots her out on the balcony. Approaching the woman who is staring down, the girl asks if Georgia often thinks about suicide and then pushes her over the edge. No one will suspect Ivy, since Georgia had always been prone to this. Waking up the night after the funeral, Sylvia discovers that Ivy has already moved into her mother's room and is sleeping in her bed. The girl explains this by saying Sylvia probably wanted to be alone, which is why she came in here. Taking Sylvia by the hand, Ivy talks her into lying down next to her, asking her to tell her everything she wanted to say to her mother but never got the chance to, and to just pretend that she is Georgia. The next morning, Daryl finds out he's been fired from the TV station, while Ivy finds Sylvia in the garage, where the girl is washing her mom's car. Ivy suggests going for a joyride, bringing along the urn with Georgia's ashes, and lies to Sylvia that she knows how to drive. However, within the first few yards, it becomes painfully obvious that she doesn't. During the ride, Ivy starts humming a melody. Hearing the tune, Sylvia says it's a melody she wrote for her mother, and that Daryl had recorded it on a cassette tape that was playing the morning Georgia allegedly threw herself out the window. Sylvia realizes that Ivy was in Georgia's room that morning and asks what the girl was doing in there. At that exact moment, Ivy loses control of the wheel and the car flies into a ditch, crashing into a tree. The girl regains consciousness and drags Sylvia over to the driver's seat while she hides. Daryl arrives at the hospital and learns from his daughter that Ivy was behind the wheel, but he doesn't believe her. Watching him make excuses for her friend, it finally dawns on Sylvia that Daryl is sleeping with Ivy. That night, the girl sneaks out of the hospital and hitchhikes back to her house. Outside, she sees the urn with her mother's ashes and her dog sitting on a chain in the rain. Walking into the house, Sylvia catches her father and Ivy in the living room. The girl runs out of the house, and Daryl rushes after her, but the man slips and falls. Ivy runs out right behind him. Daryl notices a bruise from the steering wheel on her chest, realizing that she was indeed the one driving and that Sylvia was telling the truth at the hospital. Ivy makes excuses, explaining that his daughter forced her to drive. Daryl gets into his car and drives off to search for his daughter, while Ivy, imagining herself in George's place, changes clothes and climbs onto the balcony railing, which Sylvia notices. Sylvia sneaks up on the girl and pushes her off the balcony. Ivy manages to grab the pendant around the girl's neck, a gift from Daryl, but the chain breaks, and Ivy, along with the stone, falls onto the driveway right as Daryl is driving by. This is where the movie ends. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.